Hello, this is Dogcesy, and today I'll be talking about the new operators that will be coming in the next event, the auction. Yeah, the next event. I think it's Dosalas Holiday. Oh, I forgot the name. Yeah. I'll be talking about the four new operators that you get from Dosalas Holiday. So just a big disclaimer that there are two entirely new archetypes, so I may not really know. And for Mizuki's the AoE specialist. The only one I do have experience with Ethan. Manticore to also some extent. So yeah, I'm not don't really have much experience with the AoE specialist as well. And even for the boostic snipers or what they're called, spread shooter snipers, the only one I have experience with Panko. I haven't built up my executor and I don't have our stuff. So yeah, just so a lot of what I'll be saying is what I've heard and just my impressions of their capabilities on paper. So yeah, I guess yep. We just straight up go on to Chen. I guess I just talk about Chen. The first element of Chen is that ammo type skills, which I'm pretty sure is all of them, but not all. As up all of them. So again, I will have a 20% chance for them to not consume the ammo when she attacks, which is actually quite nice. If I'm not wrong, yep. And it'll be a 50% at B1. Other sniper operators, I'm pretty sure Ash, and I also heard that it's Tolifon as well. Ash and Tolifons will also have a 10% chance to not consume the ammo. The thing is, I don't think either of them actually really needs it, so it will probably be more useful as time goes on when more ammo type snipers are released. And then the other one is attack speed. The base 8 is nice, and also have increased to 12 on certain maps with the water tiles. I'm pretty sure it will be this event as well as what is it? Obsidian Festival's one, which is Ceylon's event, who also shares a similar type of talent, I guess. So yeah. So I guess I'll talk about. I'll start from skill one, I guess. It's charged by her attacking, and it's automatically triggered. So maybe once she gets it, the 5 SP cost or yeah, just 5 SP cost should automatically trigger it. But I should increase attack and as well as apply the trait effect. I'm pretty sure it's the 50% bonus to all enemies within the attack range instead of just that one tile in front of her. Let me just bring up. I forgot to do this. Just instead of just this one tile in front of her, you apply to everyone within the 6 tiles range of hers, which is actually quite strong, actually very decent, but the damage itself would be quite lacking, at least compared to the other two. You'll see why. But if you want like an AFK strat, maybe like doing annihilations, it should be strong enough if you have like other stuff as well. Other stuff, either maybe buffing a buff to her like Warfarin or a Scouter, stuff like that. It should be relatively enough because of a high enough attack. So skill 2, where it's manually triggered and charged by just letting her stay there with 24 SP cost at rank 7 and 20 at mastery 3, but can be charged. Hello door. But can be charged where you can reach double the maximum, which will be 48 at rank 7 and 40 at mastery 3, where she will gain extra 12 ammo instead of the usual 8. So as for what she does, it will increase her attack, and each of her attack will create a sticky liquid. Okay, will create a sticky liquid which lasts for 5 seconds. The sticky liquid will inflict a movement speed debuff as well as decreasing defense, which at 150 for rank 7 and 170 at rank not rank 9. Mastery 3. Why did I say rank 9? You say mastery 2. Never mind. actually does what actually solves one of the biggest issues I have with Pinecone. It's the fact that how limited the range Pinecone has. A lot of times the opponents tend the nah, yeah, opponent I guess, but the enemies tend to like move out of a range before she can really do much. So Pinecone excelled the most if she could one shot either one shot the enemy, which is also further helped by the defense debuff, or there's blockers in it. So the movement speed reduction itself actually kind of eliminates the need for there to be like a blocker, at least to a certain extent. But yeah, skill 3, which is basically the combination of both skill 1 and skill 2, just that there's a very long downtime, very long skill downtime, actually reduce it further to 40%, and 45 at mastery 1. So yeah, she's by no means a slouch. Oh yeah, that's the reason why the skill 3 is considered like a general skill to use, because of the fact that it's kind of like a combination of both skill 1 and skill 2, with the fact that her attack range is also further expanded by the 2 tiles. So, if you ask me whether she's strong, I need to tell you, she's very strong. Having both, say, a movement speed debuff to solve the limited range issue, having reduced defense, reducing defense, as well as applying her trait to everyone within range, helps out with the fact that can help somewhat compensate with the fact of their slow attacks interval, where her pretty much just one-shotting them, especially since we're not long up, her attacks do twice. So yeah, she's just kind of solves like all the issues I have with Pinecone with just the skills, except for the high deployment cost, which hers is actually like a lot higher than Pinecone's. The extra 6 can be quite bad. So I may actually decide to try to go for a deployment cost of hers if I can. Oh, I don't even have 300 pool save up in the first place. I only have like 200 pool save up, so I may not even get her in my 300 pools. So yeah. But yeah, but she's very strong. Though how strong exactly, I mean, I can't really tell you because I don't have her yet. I can't use her. I'll maybe talk more about it when I upload it and clear the event along the way. So yeah, but yeah, her skill 3 will be the skill that you will default to for most case scenarios, since it's just a combination of both a skill 2 and skill 1. Like if you want a more consistent uptime, you can people will usually choose skill 2, because even if it doesn't attack twice and apply the trait to everyone, the movement speed and defense debuff is usually more than enough. And the charge effect is usually not necessary, but it will still be better if you can go for it. But if you want to be AFK or maybe like focus on the other map or the other stuff on the map, be like your other operator skill activation, skill 1 is actually still a viable skill due to how high the damage he can still do even just with that, because of the trait effect being applied to all enemies as well as the increased attack. So yeah, a very good operator. All 3 skills are actually very good. The skill 3 is the best. If you yeah, I think I'm talking enough. But let's move on to Mizuki, who is a pair called a stalker specialist. I never really know the proper word, but yeah. Attacks all enemies not he, it's a he, right? Yeah, I'm sure it's a he. Within his range, as well as having physical and art dodge, which actually is nice, but yeah. So her first talent, he's not her, but I keep saying her. His first talent allows him to do additional art damage equal to 50% of his attack to the target with the lowest HP within his range. So yeah, and then the second one is if there's an enemy with less than 50% HP within his attack range, increase his attack by 10%. And it's increased to 12 at port 5. Wait, I haven't checked the ports on her. Okay, just buff that one. Okay, it doesn't really matter that much, I guess. Yeah. And the skill 1, which from what I've heard from my friend, is actually the skill he uses, like for generally for Mizuki, where the next attack deals 230% physical damage, and if it's the Teller one, which is this one, 50% attack to the lowest HP with slash damage, to 2.3 times. From what I thought from my friend, why he likes it is like since you're doing both like high damage of both physical and arts, as well as the fact that it can be stored, so it's kind of like you activate like you charging up your skills like the usual skills like the skill 2 stuff like that. So why he likes it apparently. Yeah. So I think let's move on to skill 2, where you severely reduce make it severe, but you reduce the attack interval from 3.5 seconds to 2.3 seconds, and previous even more at mastery 3, just decrease it to 2 seconds. Actually, that kind of solves the issue that I find with Ethan and Manticore, that even though their skills are very powerful, like Ethan having a very high chance to bind, and Manticore with a stun, the thing is both of them are quite, how do I say, irrelevant due to how slow they attack. So the amount of like total kingdoms or prop control that they can have is still severely limited. So the fact that the attack interval is reduced on Mizuki, and the fact that he is also skill binding, is actually very good. So yeah, reduce the attack interval, increase attack, and Teller 1, which is this talent, the damage one, targets one more additional enemy and inflicts bind to both of the targets that is targeted by his talent 1. So this kind of makes the talent 1 target one more enemy instead of just as well as also binding both of them. So it's actually a very strong skill. This is what my other friend who has Mizuki and is playing on CN server. Actually he plays on both ECN and global, but yeah, CN server as well tend to default due to the amount of that the crop control he has. We not There's kind of like the difference between him and Ethan is that Ethan can bind everyone that he attacks, but he has a percentage chance, whereas Mizuki will confirm that 100% bind 2 targets. It's kind of like that, while also doing more damage. So it's kind of like that, I guess. What if you but because of the percentage chances that in general use Mizuki skill 2 would still be better than Ethan's skill 2. So skill 3, the one that apparently both of my friends with Mizuki says is extremely situational, or maybe they just don't know how to use it. But yeah, since they don't like the drawback, Mizuki will lose health if he doesn't attack more than 3 enemies each time he attacks, which isn't actually that hard, and is according to them as well, due to the fact of how slow his attack. So there's usually enough time for like new enemies to walk into the range, which I guess is something. But yeah, the skill expands the attack range, increased his attack by looping time, a lot more than any of the other skills, as well as the fact that the Teller 1 targets 2 additional, which means 3, as well as inflicting stun for 1 second to all 3, which is actually quite nice. Just that it's not exactly as powerful as the skill 2. In the fact the skill 2 reduces the attack interval, so the 1 second bind is actually more, how do I say, it's actually like a bigger deal compared to the stun is skill 3. Though unlike bind, stun can stagger the attacks of enemies. So it may actually be useful against bosses if you're prepared for Mizuki to lose health each time he attacks. So yeah, that's what I've seen one of my friends did use the skill 2 for, not skill 2, skill 3 for. In fact, it has a decent duration, even if it has quite a bad uptime. But I've seen him use to stun like the CC boss apparently, because bosses tend to have also very high attack level, so it did not matter. So as long as he had a healer as well as a defender to block. He's not a defender, he used Chalter to block the boss, but you get my idea. He can kind of use Team Stun as like a impromptu project raid per se. Oh yeah, I've seen my friend use it to will like stun lock the boss from prevent the boss from attacking his circle for him clearing CC. So if you want to use it that way, I guess you can. Yeah, he does have a surprisingly high attack though. So yeah, that's just it's what I've heard as well from my friends. But yeah, also by no means bad. Just that by proxy of his archetype of the stalker specialist, he is kind of, how do I say, not as good as maybe like Chen Outer, but yeah. And I guess I'll move on to La Pluma, who is actually considered a Reaper Guard apparently, which is kind of like the amenity operators like Halaga. He cannot be healed by allies, but will recover 50% HP for every enemy hit up to block count, which I'm pretty sure is 2. So yeah, my parents are around, so if you hear them, I'm sorry about it. But yeah, she's able to attack all enemies within her range, so it's a true AoE like attacks. Attacks does true AoE, meaning there is no hard limit cap, unlike what we call AoE guards, who is capped by the block count. So yeah, though I'm kind of sad about this though. She does recover 50 HP for every enemy hit, but it's up to her block count. So she will only maximally heal 100 HP each time she attack, even though she will be hitting like 13 enemies at once. It's kind of sad, but I guess in IS, from what I've heard my friend, with the artifacts to increase the guard's block count, right, she actually becomes a lot more funner, able to survive a lot more hits than she would otherwise. IS2, when you come in. Yeah, yeah, my friends has been playing around with her in IS, and then the increased block artifact actually was very useful for him, I guess. I guess I'll talk about the talent first. She gained increased attack speed for every enemy killed, which, from what I've heard, isn't that hard actually. Isn't actually very hard to do so. I guess stacks up to 12 times. Isn't actually that hard. Well, yeah. She can actually hold on from what I've heard due to the fact that her stats are actually pretty decent. Like 2000 health with 400 defense. I mean, having no arts resistance is bad, but most enemies are physical attackers either way, so she would actually survive a lot. Enough time to actually let her get her attack speed up to stack. So yeah, talk about skill 1, which is actually kind of weird. Since actually, like, both of the friends that play CN, right, cannot decide which skill 1, whether skill 1 or skill 2 is like better for Janna. It's like they're both very good. So yeah, I'll just talk about skill 1. Next attack deal 2 hits, it means that she will heal double the amount. So meaning that with the one attack, since she is landing twice, she will heal like 50 each time that he hits an enemy that's up to the block count. So like the skill will let her heal 200 instead of 100 for the next attack. And each hit deals extra damage, 35% damage. So the biggest thing I've heard about you wanting to M3 this skill is the fact that the SP cost is reduced from 3 to 2, which is actually very big. At least based on my friend's experience. Like the difference between M2 and M3 is actually very big for him. So that is something you might to consider. And yep. And then skill 2, where her attack interval is reduced even more with masteries compared to rank 7. And also while having an attack increase. So whenever she's attack enemies with less than 50% HP, her attack is further increased by 40%. It is kind of like a joke between that she's basically like she's like a proper Grim Reaper with skill, ensuring that they die. Since that of like having the let's say the 40% increased attack when the enemy is below half health. 3 is more, yeah, up to 50 at band 3. So yeah, that's sort of a cheap thing like that. That she's a proper Grim Reaper with skill 2. But yeah. So compared to like the consistent damage that the skill 1 does, Skill 2 is more like a burst for the next 25 seconds. Like a burst deep damage for the next few seconds. So they're both very strong actually, at least from what they've told me. So it's like the only difference, like the situation you use the skill 1 and skill 2 is that skill 1 is for consistent damage throughout the game. And then skill 2 is when you know you need to burst down the skill, like burst down. Maybe there's like a crowd of enemies, like there are a big wave of enemies. I'm not exactly sure if I'm don't exactly have a map in mind. It's yeah, yeah. People are also going with this, I don't know. But yeah. So basically skill 2 is just like a burst damage, and skill 1 is consistent damage. So that's about it, to be honest. Don't really have much to add on. None of these are my personal experience. Just what my friends told me. And then Tequila, the welfare operator for this one. I've heard from them that he's actually quite good. Just that Sylvash is generally better apparently, but yeah. So when his skill is not active, he will deal arch damage equals to 30% of his attack to the target when he is attacked. So yeah, it's kind of like Nian's skill 2 with flat damage or Hoshiguma. So yeah, when he is attacked, when his skill is down, it will deal 30% of his attack to the enemy. Which is good. At least he has some way to damage like enemies when he's not attacking. Since he can only attack. He can only attack when his skill is active, yeah. Let's also talk about like his trait. The start attack can have 0 block count normally, and will gradually increase his attack to 200% after 40 seconds when while the skills are not active. Skills are not active. The attack increase, the 200% is reset back to 0 after the skill ends. So yeah, at least on what I heard from my friends, he did kind of like experience, the one of them, experience like the issue of like him actually dying because he was reluctant to use his skill because he wanted to wait for the full 40 seconds to get the max buff. But yeah, I guess. So yeah, he will be actually interesting to play since he has 0 block count normally. So yeah, his skill 1, where he gains increased attack speed, as well as the fact that the attacks deal increased physical damage, which is even more attack speed and stuff like attack speed. Yeah, is from what I've heard, like the better skill against bosses. Just that even then his damage is actually quite lacking if you don't have like the buffs for him, like Warfarin buff, Schwartz defense debuff, stuff like that. If you don't have like the proper support, even though it is the better boss killing skill, it still does surprisingly little damage. So yeah, think of that what you may, but it is actually still quite actually a very decent skill on him. So yeah, skill 2, whereas basically the skill that like most of like the showcases are of Tequila about, and has been compared to like her becoming like a mini Silver Ash, which I can see. So yeah, expand the attack range to this, so allowing her to attack 2 targets simultaneously, or 3 if charged, which actually isn't that bad since you most of the time want to charge it to once you have the charge effect, once you have the skill to be charged. Because by the time the skill is charged, it'll be 40 SP cost, which is 40 seconds. So most units gain 1 SP per second, which is exactly how much you need for him to reach full power of the extra 200% attack. So you more often than not, you would want to charge the skill 2 up so that you can gain the extra 15 seconds uptime as well as extra 1 target. Though like I said with my friend, don't be so reluctant to use the skill only when it's charged. If you need to activate the skill, even though it's not charged, like fully charged up yet. If you need the damage, then please activate the skill. But yeah, it's his better skill at crowd control, like clearing out crowds or just doing damage in general. But yeah, but if you want to like damage bosses, my friend has mentioned that skill 1 is still the better general skill. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure how true that is, since as far as I can tell I don't see a lot of showcases for Tequila skill 1, and I don't have any personal experience with Tequila or his archetype. So yeah, think of that what you may, I guess. But yeah, that kind of has been my what I've kind of has been just my opinions about the 4 operators. I would definitely be putting for the banner. I'm not exactly sure. I'm still trying to figure out some of like the OBS stuff. If I can figure that one out, I may record like my voice as I react and pull for my banners. Since yeah, I'm trying to see if I can work OBS out with running a cable from my laptop to my phone. If I can figure that one out, I will go with it. If not, it'll be just on my other videos. It's the thing I'm worried about is that fact I'm worried that the putting video will be too long. So it may be kind of boring to watch without my voice like reacting as I pull along. So I'll try to figure that one out. But don't hope for it. But yeah, don't hope for it. So yeah. So yeah. I guess I should summarize it. Chen, basically a very strong unit that skills make up for all but one of the issues I have with the boomstick sniper's archetype. The only one that she doesn't is deployment cost, but that generally shouldn't be the case for most players, since they will be having like murder to print DP. So yeah, Mizuki is actually very strong. Skill 1 is actually very strong. Skill 2 I feel should be the general skill that people use. But skill 3 stun can be very useful, especially even against bosses, to stun lock them if you're okay with and willing for him to lose health every time he attacks and have some sort of healing to mitigate it. But yeah, skill two would be the general skill to use. Skill 1 does have great consistent damage, and skill 3 is just kind of like the supposed to be the big skill, but the long cooldown time and HP loss when attacking less than 3 enemies does like pull him back. And La Pluma, who is a lot of people's favorite operator now. Because to be honest, the art looks very good. But yeah, skill 1 for consistent damage, and skill 2 for burst damage. Yeah. And then Tequila. Skill 1 is supposedly for boss killing, and skill 2 is supposedly for the general use as well as to clear crowds. So yeah, think what are you? All 4 operators are actually very strong. So I'll be looking forward to playing with all 4 of them myself, personally. Though I would still be prioritizing Chen over Mizuki. So yeah, I will see if after I get my first copy of Chen, depending on how many pulls I have left, I may or may not go for the potential one or Mizuki himself as well. So yeah, so this has been Dogcesy. This has been Dogcesy. Yep. Alright, bye bye.